Are we ready?
Yes.
أولاً سلام welcome you and we want to say hi to each and every one of you. Welcome. My name is Muhammad and I'm a civil engineering student. I'm about to be a finalist, so I'll be hosting this discussion with my senior, Fatma Jalal. And I really hope this discussion is really amazing and everyone are going to be, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to have so much fun in it and we're going to hear from everyone. So in order to organize everything, we just want to make sure that you can hear me well, everyone are muted, and we're going to have an opportunity. And if anyone wants to ask any question, you can send it in chat and we're going to write that down. Tamam? Okay. Okay, first of all, we're going to start by speaking just a little bit about Dr. Hanan Farahat. With over 25 years of oil and gas industry experience, Dr. Hanan Farahat is one of the leading experts in corrosion and materials engineering in the region. She's a senior research director at Qatar Environment and Energy Research Institute and the founding director of the Corrosion Center. Dr. Farahat's resume also includes oil and gas technical service management as well as senior inspection and lead corrosion engineering positions. She had a faculty of engineering position also at the College of the North Atlanta, Qatar, and was the lead corrosion research at CNAQ for 7 years. Also, she had a PhD in corrosion engineering and a master's in materials and mechanical engineering from the University of Saskatchewan, Canada. Her bachelor degree in materials and metallurgical engineering from Tripoli University, Libya. And Dr. Farahat is also a registered professional Canadian engineer. She holds international certification in corrosion and inspection engineering. She represents also Qatar in the International Association of Oil and Gas Producers, the International Standard Organization for the Corrosion Standards, and the Gulf Region Oil and Gas Standard Committee. Okay, and Dr. Farahat is also an advocate for women's rights and gender equality. And she's the founder and chairperson of Qatar Women Engineering Association and the chairperson of the Qatar Association for Corrosion and Materials Engineering. So we got it all figured out, and she's literally the right person to talk about it. We have an amazing topic today. We're going to speak about women. And as far as we know, the percentage of female engineers is actually not that big. And we want to spot this light on, because if we want to be honest, it's like a kind of a male-dominant field, but we have so many successful examples when it comes to successful women in engineering and also in other fields. So we're going to talk about knowledge and the importance of knowledge, and we're going to have a discussion with Dr. Farahat. So I really hope that everyone here are having a good time, and thank you so much, Dr. Farahat, Dr. Taqwa, everyone who's here. We're going to give you the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much. And may I share my presentation?
Absolutely.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is real pleasure وأنا سعيدة جدا بأن أكون معكم اليوم. Thank you for the introduction. شكرا كثيرا للدكتورة تقوى والباشمهندسة فاطمة for arranging this. It's a pleasure. Are you able to see my presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's obvious.
Okay. Today I will be talking about the importance of knowledge for women empowerment. As what كرمت الأخت نهى by introducing me. I worked in oil and gas industry. I worked in engineering for a long time. فأنا لي فترة في هالمجال. One important thing I've been doing لأني من الناس الأوائل بالنسبة في ليبيا اللي اشتغلوا في قطاعات النفط والغاز، ولما انتقلت من ليبيا لقطر اشتغلت أيضا في قطاع النفط والغاز، وأول وظيفة اشتغلت فيها كنت المهندسة الوحيدة في مصنع، وكانت في صعوبة جدا لي أني يكون عندي access للسايت، وإحنا نعرف أن المرأة في مجالات الهندسة في الدول العربية ما زالت مع الأسف تلاقي صعوبة مقارنة بالدول الأجنبية. مثلا في كذلك النساء اللي هم في آسيا مثل الهند نفس الوضع اللي احنا فيه. فشيء من الأشياء اللي أنا ركزت عليها بعد ما تقدمت في شغلي ويعني gained management positions إن نركز على empowerment, women empowerment, and sharing my experience and real life experience, learning from each other. فحاليا we started a new group هو MENA Women in Engineering. I invite the crowd, if you are interested to join the group, please just contact me via LinkedIn or via دكتورة تقوى. دكتورة تقوى is helping us to have more women من السودان في هالجروب سواء طلبة أو مهندسات. What I'm going to talk about today أول شيء ركزوا عليه اللي هو ال perception of women in the MENA region. In the MENA region, it's been for years women are looked at as they are mentally inferior to men. يعني ما فيش trust إن المرأة تستطيع أنها تعمل decision قرر. القرارات الرئيسية دائما ترجع للرجل لأن النظرة أن المرأة عواطفها تتحكم فيها. نعم المرأة العواطف جزء كبير منها ولكن العواطف ما هيش السبب الرئيسي اللي يتحكم في قدرة المرأة على أنها تعمل قرار. المرأة تنظر للقرار من ناحية العقل والعاطفة، والعاطفة اللي تنظر بها تنظر لها بالإحساس بما يشعر به الشخص الآخر. فأعتقد أنها قوة وليست ضعف، ولكن مع الأسف ما زال النظر أن المرأة غير قادرة على أنها تصل إلى مراتب عليا تعطي قرارات حكيمة. البرسبشن هذا في المينا ريجن you'll be surprised أن this same perception same نفس النظرة نجدها حتى في الدول الغربية، بس إنها مش واضحة كراها في الدول العربية وفي دول الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا. فما نحتاج إليه فعلا أن احنا نبني مجتمع مبني على الثقافة وعلى العلم، وهذا يعد تحدي رئيسي لنا. لو نظرنا مثلا إلى القرآن الكريم، أول كلمة نزل بها القرآن كانت كلمة اقرأ، يعني أن القراءة والعلم والمعرفة مهمة ضرورية جدا للإنسان. ومن أجل هذا الله يعني ربنا الكريم عندما أنزل أول كلمة في المصحف الكريم كانت كلمة أقرأ، عشان تعطينا ما معنى إن هالعلم وهالقراءة وهالمعرفة النولج إن هي مهمة جدا لحياتنا. ومع الأسف هناك عدد كبير من الدول تمنع النساء من القراءة، من الدراسة، من التطور في التعليم. فبالنسبة لنا يعني إحنا أعتقد إنها واجب علينا كلنا نساء أو رجال اللي ربي عطانا فرصة إن إحنا نتعلم أن نساعد الغير ليتعلموا، لأن العلم قوة، وهذا ما يعني ما نؤمن به. حنتكلم في البرزنتيشن بتاعي حنعرض بعض الأرقام. التركيز عندي على الستم اللي هي Science, Technology, Engineering, STEM okay. Science, Engineering, Mathematics and Technology. العلم بس من ناحية النولج، بس من ناحية الناحية العلمية. لو نظرنا إلى الإحصائيات اللي عملت في سنة 2019 باليونسكو نرى أن عدد النساء في بعض، يعني إحنا عندنا إكزامبل من بعض الدول العربية، عدد النساء اللي هم درسوا المجالات STEM في الدول العربية يعتبر عالي. بالنسبة لمقارنة المجالات كلها مع بعضها أقل مجال هو مجال الهندسة. ما زال مجال الهندسة مجال male dominant profession، ما زال مجال أكثر للعنصر الرجالي عن العنصر النسائي. احنا نعتبره سكسس ان عدد النساء اللي يدخلوا في الستم سواء في الانجينيرينج او في هذول يعتبر سكسس ان احنا عندنا عدد كبير من النساء داخلين المجالات العلمية، واللي ينظر اليها ان هي مجالات تستخدم العقل والتفكير. وما يعني الصورة او النظرة القديمة ان المرأة قدراتها العقلية اقل من قدرات الرجل، فاحنا اثبتنا ان النساء لا ينجحوا في هالمجالات يدخلوا وياخذوا حتى في شهادات عالية، وما شاء الله يعني يتطوروا. ما شاء الله عندنا يعني دكاترة في الجامعة، عندنا examples، يعني عندنا أمثلة اليوم معنا، عندنا دكاترة يصلوا في أعلى المستوى، ففي success. لكن عندنا مشكلة. المشكلة أن النساء اللي يدخلوا الجامعات ويدرسوا زي ما شفنا في الكيرف هذا، يعني لو نظرنا مثلا للون الأخضر في الكيرف، هذول الجراديوت، هذول كلهم جراديوت، وفي عندنا طلبة ما شاء الله عدد الطلبة يعني يزيد، لكن لا، كم مرأة تشتغل من هذول النساء في المجالات هذه؟ نلقى مثلا سايبرس، واللي هي من تعتبر من المينا ريجن. سايبرس يعني عالية، لكن نقارنها بالدول العربية هنا، مثلا ناخذ سواء البحرين ولا حتى مصر يعني والمغرب، ما زالت النسبة بسيطة جدا، واطية جدا جدا. يعني أعلى شيء تقدر توصل للمرأة حوالي 25% من النساء اللي هم يدرسوا يشتغلوا في المجالات العلمية. فلدينا مشكلة كبيرة في أن إحنا النساء يتحصلوا على عمل في مجالات الهندسة، وأنهم اللي يتمكنوا من البقاء في هالمجالات، واللي هي نسميها الجوب ريتنشن في المجالات العلمية أو مجالات الهندسة. لدينا جاب، لدينا يعني منطقات تريد ملئها، ملء الفراغ. والفراغ هذا ليش؟ ما زال عندنا عدد أقل من النساء اللي هم يشتغلوا في مجالات الستم، وخصوصا في مجال الهندسة. We have way less women in the leadership position. والworse من this إن إحنا السالري، المعاشات اللي تأخذها النساء ما زالت أقل بكثير من معاشات الرجال، وهذا عالميا، مش حتى في الشرق الأوسط ولكن حتى في كل الدول. فما هي الأسباب؟ لماذا النساء يعني ما زلنا لم يثبتنا وجودهن في هذه المجالات؟ أنا أعتقد أن أكبر سبب يقف في وجه النساء للتطور مفروض أن احنا نعرفه ما هو السبب، ولماذا لدينا هذه المشكلة، وكيف نحل هذه المشكلة اللي هي what, why and how we can solve this problem. فما هي الأوبستيكل؟ ما هي الأشياء اللي تقف في وجه النساء اللي هم دخلوا الجامعات وتطوروا ويعني نجحوا، ولكن من الصعوبة عليهم أن يجدوا مجالات هندسية؟ رقم 1 knowledge، المعرفة. ما زالت المرأة ينظر إليها أن معرفتها في مجالاتها أقل بكثير من الرجل. وإذا كان نظرنا، وحتوقف هنا كثيرا لأن هذا هو يعني المين topic for our discussion today. Why women are having less knowledge or perceived that they're having way less knowledge than men. Why? Number 1, women in their education, they succeed. For example, in engineering, so we get more women succeeding, more women getting higher academic success than men. Then why these women are perceived that they have less knowledge? Because of the practical experience, because it's very difficult for women to get into the field and get practical experience. And why is this? It's because of our culture. لو مرأة تسوق سيارة والسيارة تقف، حتطلب الميكانيكي اللي يصلحها. لو رجل يسوق سيارة والسيارة تقف، حيحاول هو وبعض الرجال معاه أنهم يصلحوا السيارة. ليش؟ لأن إحنا من الطفولة عرفنا الحدود. الطفلة تلعب يعني بالدول أو اللعبة، تول لعب الرجال وهذه لعب النساء. من الطفولة حددنا أن المرأة هذه هي إمكانياتها. عندها البنت عندها مطبخ صغير تلعب به، عندها ماكينة خياطة تخيط بها، عندها دمى تلعب بها. كأم كربة بيت نربيها بالطريقة هذه. الولد عنده سيارات، عنده تولز يصلح بيهم، فهو عنده الإمكانية أنه هو يصلح. fixing problems, solving problems not for the woman just stay at the house. إحنا already من الطفولة ندخل فيها الفكرة في العقل، في عقل الأطفال. وبعدها لما المرأة تكبر بشوية ما عندهاش ثقة بالنفس، يعني لما توقف سيارتها ما عندهاش ثقة أنها تفتح المحرك وتدخل وتشوف كيف المحرك هذا يشتغل، رغم أنها درست وعندها النولج، لكن عشان تطبقها علميا صعب، لأنها اوريدي مبرمجة من الطفولة بهالطريقة هذه. وهذه هي المشكلة اللي احنا تواجهنا. فلما المرأة تدخل من الجامعة تنتقل لتشتغل في مكان العمل، الصعوبة اللي تواجهها كيف، وهي تواجه كل طالب، من لما الدراسة النظرية تختلف عن الحياة العملية. فلما الأولاد ينتقلوا من الدراسة النظرية للحياة العملية، النقلة سريعة سهلة مش صعبة، بس يدخل يتعلم شوية شوية، أوكي في أشياء شافها يقدر يقدر يقولوا refer to the things that they have seen before. بينما المرأة it's very very difficult for her لأنها she hasn't seen this. She hasn't been involved in fixing her bicycle when she was young. She hasn't, except for few. We cannot generalize, but except there are some اللي هي الأسرة تعطيهم هالإمكانيات هذه. فهذه number one اللي عدم الثقة. نمبر 2 من ناحية النولج، المرأة النولج بتاعها limited unfortunately because of the society. يعني لما المرأة تتزوج وتكون أسرة، حياتها الاجتماعية تتمحور حوالين هالأسرة. بعد العمل تقضي وقتها مع الأطفال، إذا كان في مناسبات اجتماعية مع نساء ثانيات، الحديث في المناسبات الاجتماعية يتعلق بتربية الأطفال، بالبيت، بالطبخ، بالعائلة، يعني بهالأمور. بينما الرجل يطلع مثلا بعد العمل يروح يتلاقى مع أصدقائه، يجلسوا في القهوة يتكلموا، يقول له سمعت artificial intelligence is coming now. What is artificial intelligence? More exposed, عنده more restricted in terms of knowledge. ما لهاش القدرة إنها تتعرض للأمور هذه أكثر بسبب السوسايتي، بسبب الحياة اللي هي يعني إحنا في مجتمعاتنا. This is something we have to focus on. إن إحنا we create platforms for knowledge sharing, more informations, more webinars, more seminars. إحنا we're lucky. يعني one of the positive things that came out of COVID is something like now, like I'm talking from Qatar to most of the audience are from يعني في السودان. There is no distance, no difficulty in transferring information. We have the internet, we have knowledge, but filtering knowledge, finding the right knowledge, finding what you want easily, we have to provide platforms to make this easy for women. So that's important for the woman to get to know. The knowledge is your key, is your weapon for progress, and there is no success without knowledge. And knowledge doesn't limit. You can never. I've been working for now over 25 years with corrosion, oil and gas corrosion. Until today, I don't know anything, because your knowledge is always limited. You can't say that I know everything. No, I don't know everything, and I still need to learn more. I still take training courses. I still sit and in webinars and listen to people talking and learning from them, so they are young or old. Sometimes you get information from young students who have different way of looking into things. So that's important for us. The other thing that women are facing in many workplaces is respect. Yani, when the woman sits in the discussion table and she comes up, they're discussing an idea, and she comes up with idea and talk, it's always not well perceived, because it's seen in many meetings. Woman, there is a discussion and a woman says, okay, what if we do this? She just drops off an idea and nobody talk. It's quiet. And then after 2-3 minutes, a man in the room repeat the same idea in just different words. And they, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. But because they don't respect the ability that the woman can make the right decision. And this is a cultural thing. It's just, it's not because the person is being mean to the woman, but it's just perceived. They grow up with this, is that women cannot decide on this. So when it comes from a man, they can listen more and they think about it. Oh yeah, it's a good idea. And this results in a lack of respect in many places for women. And that's sad because this make women lose their confidence. And then as a result, they sit in the room and instead of bringing their opinion and their contribution, they feel shy and they stay in the background because they're not afraid how this will be perceived. So there is no confidence, and that's because of this. The third thing is that inclusion, which is very, very important. Women are still excluded in many decision making at home. If an important decision is to be made, usually men are the ones who are making the decision. I cannot say every home, but this is still happening. Women in some places cannot even decide about, their life, whom they're gonna marry, when they're gonna marry, and what they're gonna study, uh, where they're gonna live. Everything is decided for them in many cultures, and it's sad, and it's still happening. And I think women who are lucky and they learned and they have the right to decide for themselves have to help others. So we need to help each other. And I find that in many workplaces that you'll see meetings where women are not included because they think, oh, okay, yeah, call this guy, oh yeah, you don't need her, she's not going to add anything. And so you'll see that there is this exclusion also in workplaces, and that's affecting our progress, and that affects the ability for women to find jobs, because when it comes to a man and a woman applying for the same job with the same qualifications, same experience, especially in engineering profession, they tend to pick a man, not a woman. And that's sad because they're losing part, because women bring something different to the table. They bring their way of thinking, and it's completely different than men, and it's complementing men. We complement each other. We don't work alone. We support each other, and we work together in the two sides. So how do we succeed? Our big thing to success is confidence and knowledge. You're going to have to learn, and you're going to keep on learning and learning and learning all the time. And you're going to have to know your rights, and you're going to have to know what you need and what the work needs from you. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a work environment where you're not happy, where you feel that you are not needed, and you feel that, they call it the imposter syndrome, which is that you feel that you're imposing yourself in the place. You don't feel that you belong. So I see it in many, many meetings. Women often tend to say sorry for every simple thing. Sometimes you come to a meeting and you are in another meeting and you just finished and you walk from this meeting to the other, so it takes maybe 5 minutes to reach the second room. لما مرأة تدخل, I'm sorry, I'm late. You always feel guilty. You always have to have everything perfect. يجي راجل, he was in the same meeting and she was running and she come fast, and he comes, like most of the cases, he come, okay, did I miss something? The way that they start I see it a lot, and I've done it myself too. When you start your career as an engineer, as a young engineer, you're overloaded with work. And because you have to work more than others to prove yourself. And so if they give you a job, you do a great job. And I've seen so many young women in engineering and science, they put excellent reports and they do a lot of work. And sometimes they didn't need even to go that far, but I know they do their best so that it's perfect, no mistakes, because they feel that they don't belong in this place, so they have to prove themselves. Whereas men, they're more relaxed. They do the same, good quality report, everything, but they don't need to do all these additional things because they're confident. And that confidence in women, that belonging to this workplace as their right, does not exist. It still makes women feel lower. We don't need to feel like that. We should feel that we belong here. They need us, and that's why we should be here. So you need to know 3 things. You need to know your area of specialty. So if you are an engineer, you need to study. You need to take training courses. You need to progress. If you find that you are in a workplace and you're not getting any professional development, you need to talk. You need to ask your boss to give you an opportunity for a professional development. You need to be progressing. You don't need to be at the same place. You have to ask, and you're surprised. When you ask, you're surprised. For example, you hear, like, I remember when I was young, young engineer, and the engineers that were the same level as me, all of them went for a training. They traveled and I heard about it, and I was hurt, and I didn't say anything. And then after a few months, one of them said, "Oh, we're going on another training." So I went to my boss. I said, "Can I go on this training?" He said, "Yeah, for sure. Just put the application." I was shocked because I thought, I wasn't allowed. It was my lack of knowledge of the procedures in the company that enables all the young employees to go get professional development, made me feel that I was excluded. Whereas the men, because, there are more men, so they were talking to each other and say, "Oh, do this," and everybody's, giving them advice. In my case, I didn't have that. So I was just watching them getting hurt, feeling that I was left behind because I didn't know. I didn't know the policy. So you need to know your rights in your workplace, and you need to know what you're supposed to do, because sometimes you get people loading your work. Often people come to women and they are not in an administrative position, and they come to you and they ask you to type in their letters. Do you the secretarial work, which is not your job. Nothing wrong with that job, but it's just not your job. It's not in your job description. And so you have to make sure that you know what's in your job description, what you're supposed to do. And if you're giving things that are not in your job description, you have to stand up and say, "I'm so sorry, but that's not in my job description. Somebody else could do this work for you, not me." Because often there is what I call abuse, that women are being given a lower end jobs just to make them feel that you stay in this level, that's your mental level. You cannot go beyond that. So you can't do you can collect data, but you cannot do analysis of the data, and you cannot do criticality ranking of the data, because your level is just collecting. So you can just go get some information and collect it and give it to us. And then the smart guys will do this. So you have to be careful also with this. You have to know what you're supposed to do. You have to know what the company gives you as rights, and you have to fight to get these rights. You don't wait for them. And you have to be strong in your area. And to be strong in your area, you have to develop yourself. You have to read more, especially if you're a young engineer and starting from scratch. Don't be shy to ask. Ask questions. You don't understand anything, don't sit in the room quiet. Ask. It's okay to ask. You never feel bad because you're asking because you don't know. Because if you don't ask, you're going to grow up in the same position with all these unknowns, and you will always be non-confident. You're always going to feel that you are lower than others. In my position now, I'm a senior director. In my position, I ask questions when I don't understand, and I don't feel shy. And some people look at you that look like she doesn't know, and I have no problem. I'll ask the question, and then when I ask question, other people in the room, they start asking because they don't know too, but they're shy of asking. Never be shy to ask. That's my advice to you. And then the other advice is that you need to learn how to communicate well. We as women sometimes get emotional. And when you get emotional, you don't think. And when you don't think, you can't communicate. And you make mistakes. And these mistakes will be used against you. If you want to progress in your career, you always have to be able to communicate. I used to make a presentation and tell people, my favorite place in the workplace when I started was the washroom. And why? Because when I feel like I want to cry, I just hold my tears and I go cry in the washroom. Then I calm myself down, wash my face, look at myself in the mirror. Okay, I look normal. And I go outside. I don't show my tears, because I knew once I start crying, it's just, emotion. You can't think. You could say anything. And then they look at you and say, "Oh, she's a woman, crying woman." That's what they're gonna say. It's unfortunate because women's tears are their beauty, and they're part of their beauty, and their feelings is part of their strength. Tears are not weakness, but they are not perceived that way, unfortunately, in a male-dominated workplaces. And so my advice is that when you get when you face hard time or you get like a nasty email or somebody talks to you in an unpolite way in a meeting, calm down, breathe, don't answer, and just say, I will get back to you later. Don't answer it. And then give yourself a time to calm down. I usually, when I get one of these emails, I don't respond right away. I give it a day because I need to calm down because I'm so upset. So I need to calm down. Then I need to think about it. I need to get my brain to think, how do I respond to this? So you have to know how to communicate very well. Sometimes men come as they are rough and harsh, and sometimes they're not. It's just their way to communicate, and you take the words like it's against you. So when you read it, you read that email that you thought it's really bad, you read it next day, you say, okay, it's not as bad as what I read it first time. Sometimes because that one word just make you feel not comfortable, and that takes you to one direction. So you have to know how to communicate. You have to calm yourself down when it's a tough situation, and just think how to handle it, and don't respond right away. And always be a team player. Don't stay outside of the group. Don't say, okay, I'm a woman, I have to stay on the side, they're all men. No, ask them to engage you. And you'll feel resistance in some cases. I face situations where men, don't want to involve me, and they were not comfortable. You ask them, okay, can I join this project? And then you see their faces, oh, we have enough team. Well, that's okay. I'll just want to learn about it if you don't mind, and ask what you want and get into the team. And when you get into the team, ask them, okay, I can do this part. And then show them that you can contribute, show them the values that you have. And you will be surprised. Eventually, they're gonna come to you and say, hey, can you do this for us, please? Can you contribute in this? What do you think of this? And you become part of the team. Don't feel because you are a woman, you have to stay away. No, you have to, because this is it. This is how work happens. The work needs all the hands to complement each other. So be a team player. Don't be an outsider. And if you do this, if you have the knowledge, if you come in a meeting and you have all the knowledge that it takes about your rights, about what's your duties, about your expertise, you don't have the experience when you start, we understand that, but the knowledge, the topic. So when you come to a meeting, and if you don't know about the topic, read. Sometimes I'm called to a meetings, like I sit in many committees, interviewing committees for different scientists in different area, and it's like completely different than my area. I don't know anything about it. What I do before the interview, I just Google the topic, that this is position and this person, this is their expertise, so I understand what it is. So when I'm sitting in the interview and the person is talking about his work, I can understand what he's talking about. I can understand the topic, and knowledge is not difficult to get access to. It's in your fingertips now. And so get the knowledge of your area of specialties. So you come to the meeting with confidence, know what is your rights and what you need to do for your work, what's your duties, and then be relaxed, know how to communicate, don't get stressed, don't turn a small thing to a fight, and don't be emotional, and don't let people stop you from saying your opinion, and be involved. Get yourself in every project that you can get in. Don't be shy. And that will give the company trust in you. And that trust that you get in the company will help you to move up in leadership positions. Otherwise, you can't make it. We all can do this. I've done it. You can do it. Everyone can do it. So don't stay in the same spot. Don't expect to progress if you don't do a little bit more. And I want to end my presentation with this picture of tulips. And tulips are flowers that are grown in a kind of a wet environment, like really needs rain. And when I married, I had my honeymoon in Amsterdam, and it's a city that is known for tulips, for growing tulips. And my husband is working in Qatar, so that's what made me move to Qatar. And so when I came to Qatar, I bought lots of tulip bulbs, you know, to grow them. And I brought like 150 bulbs because you can buy them in bags and each bag has 50. So I brought 3 bags and I gave them to some of, you know, my husband's friends, neighbors, people that I met, and we grew some at home. And people, all of us tried to grow them. People's tulips never bloomed. Our tulips at home bloomed. You know why? We looked at them and we said, how can we grow? We were watering them and we were making sure that they're not too wet, they're not too dry. We bought a grow light, you know, so it gives them a UV light because we were putting them indoors because it's so hot outdoors. We changed the environment that we have in the house to make the tulips survive. If we didn't change the environment, the tulips will never bloom. And that's what I want to say. You have to change the environment to make things happen. And if your workplace environment is not healthy and it's not good for you, leave it. Go to a better environment. If you want to progress and you're staying in the same way, you're not going to progress. You have to change things to progress in yourself to begin with. So that's my advice. Don't stick to the same thing. Change things to fit, to make the flowers bloom in your life. And thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm gonna stop the presentation so I can see questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. نرجع للأسئلة. شايفة في أسئلة ترسلت في الشات فنبدأ فيها واحدة واحدة. لو في أي زول عنده أسئلة عندنا ممكن ترسلوها في الشات وحل حيكون على الأسئلة اللي already اتسألت. في سؤال اتسأل عن المهارات المطلوبة للنجاح في سوق العمل بالنسبة للمرأة، مع أنه شايفة إنه في يعني خلال السيمينار الدكتورة جاوبت عليها، لكن لو عندك إضافة ممكن تقولي عنها المهارات يعني الهندسة بالتحديد.
نعم، مهارات الهندسة أهم شيء للمرأة هو عدم الخوف، وأهم شيء اللي هي الهاندز اون اكسبيرينس، العمل باليدين. الهندسة تعتمد كثيرا على الهاندز اون، على العمل باليدين. الهاندز اون ممكن يكون في الانجينيرنج دروينج، في الديزاين، يعني مش شرط تكوني تصلحي شيء، بس المرأة لازم تزيد خبراتها العملية. ولزيادة الخبرات العملية المرأة لازم تشتغل في مجالات فيها خبرات عملية، مش في عمل مكتبي. فلو أنت تبي تطوري نفسك في مجال الهندسة، اقبلي أي وظيفة فيها عمل ميداني، لأن هذه حتعطيكي فعلا الخبرة اللي أنت محتاجتها. بعد ما تتعلمي تقدري تنتقلي لوظيفة مكتبية، لوظيفة يعني فيها مانجمنت إدارية أعلى، لكن ما تحاوليش إنك أنت في وظيفة مكتبية تحاولي إنك تركبي لمانجمنت بوزيشن في مجالات هندسة ميدانية. صعب، لازم يكون عندك الخبرة العملية، إضافة للأشياء اللي هي ذكرتها أنا، اللي هي أنك تطوري نفسك في مجالك علميا، يعني تدرسي أكثر وتطوري نفسك في مجالك. وطبعا الأشياء الثانية اللي قلناها، تتعلمي الكوميونيكيشن، كيف تتكلمي، تتعلمي كيف تثبتي وجودك، تتعلمي كيف تكوني involved في البروجكتس.
جميل. السؤال الثاني كان كيف نحصل على احترام المناسب ونقنع المجتمع إنه هو يقدر المرأة؟
الثقافة، المجتمع لازم يثقف. لازم.
سامعني؟
نعم، تسمعي فيها؟ هل واضح صوتي؟
نعم هسه واضح. أيوة هسه واضح.
الثقافة مهمة للمجتمع.
نعم.
عشان المجتمع يحترم المرأة لازم أن احنا نثقف المجتمع، لازم أن احنا نغير النظرة القديمة. أغلبيتنا يعني بعد ما نشتغل ونتخرج نصبح أمهات، وبيدنا احنا أن احنا نغير المجتمع كأمهات. الأم هي عماد البيت. لما تربي أولادك على أنك تعلميهم احترام المرأة، احترام أختها مثل احترام نفسها، يعني مثل احترام الأولاد، إخوان الأولاد، العدل في كل شيء، في وظائف البيت بيناتهم، في كل شيء عدل. لما تربي أبنائك من البيت يبدأ هذا، وإحنا جزء من المجتمع اللي إحنا هنغيره. وتثقيف المجتمع على دور المرأة وعلى قدرات المرأة. يعني ما شاء الله في كثير من الاسوسيشن والجروبات والمجموعات النسائية، هذه مفروض يكون لها عمل يوضح ما اللي تعمله المرأة، كيف أن النساء طوروا البلاد، سواء في البنية التحتية للدولة، سواء في التعليم، سواء في العلم، كيف أن المرأة لها يد في هذا. فإحنا يعني لازم نعطي examples، عندنا examples ما شاء الله نساء كثيرة ناجحات في الدول العربية، هذول المفروض نعطيهم يعني هذه المرأة مثلا كانت مسؤولة على مشروع هندسي ميداني مثلا مدني، هندسة مدنية مثلا طرقات أو كذا، لازم نعرف بها. المجتمع بعد فترة حيتعود إنه يشوف هالأمثلة وحيتعود إنه يحترم المرأة.
جميل. روان طلبت إن هي تسأل السؤال بنفسها.
تفضلي.
لو ممكن ندي روان فرصة.
تفضلي روان.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Dr. Hanan, and hello, all of you. Actually, I'm very happy to hear these words because inside me, I always trust that that's what should be. And actually, I'm not Rohan, I'm Salma, so she's my sister together. I'm a petroleum geologist and I'm starting my career now. So I find this very useful, and we have a platform called Petro Nile Academy, and I have an initiative called the Nile Women. We are just aiming to start this program. So I was always looking for women to inspire the girls, and I find that's really important thing. So I just want to, I agree with you that all girls in this period of their life, they should do the things by themselves, let them explore. So I just, in my country or in this third country or Arab girls in general, I think that we should, giving them the example of successful women both in, you can say in engineer, in work and at home. So all girls, I said, we just don't want to be successful at home, and of course you cannot do both at the same time. I just want to commend them, you can as great as possible. So you are a real example, and Dr. Tabo also is a real example. So I always want to show the other girls that you can do both things. And from here, I ask you to share with me your email and for further collaboration, and to tell you more about our proposal for the platform and how we are thinking. So I guess this is really nice. And the topic you are discussing is corrosion. I know this is one of the greatest topic, because here in the industry, we are not working with the just exploring, but we are not working to fix the problem. So corrosion is one of the, and well integrity perhaps. Like this is, I've got some consultant here used to work in Qatar, and he told me that, hey, here in Sudan, we are not working with the with well integrity. We always think about drilling a new well. Perhaps we have to manage the well. So there's a lot of topics that girls they don't know about it, and just because lack of communication with others. So I'm so excited to have you and to talk to you. That's it.
Thank you, Rowan. Thank you. And as what you said, the reception of women in some of the area that women cannot do this because it requires a lot of thinking and it requires a lot of problem solving. And so when I started my career, the first job I started with was mostly focusing on root cause failure analysis. And I succeeded in it. And I have lots of women that worked with me in that area. And I find that women are much better in that area, not because they're better than men, but because we are, in our nature, we look for details. When you go to a party and you come from the party, you probably know what the other women are dressed. When your husband goes somewhere and you ask them, they don't remember any details, because men don't look at these details, but we check everything. So when I was doing inspection and checking, I can find all the defects. It will be like 2 or 3 men engineers came before me and they don't notice, and they come and say, there was a crack there was this, and they're shocked. But because we look for details And then as we look for details, we try to find the root causes. We have an ability for women, we analyze things, you know, a lot in our life. We look at something and say, okay, why that one passed by, she didn't say hello to me. It must be because of this. We have this in us as women, and that helps a lot, you know, when you're going for root cause failure analysis, because you try to find what went wrong. And so I find that, you know, we have some skills that women have. And in my team, where I work in the corrosion center, I have mixed of men and women in the team. And I like whenever we have a case, I get them all to sit together and I ask everybody for their opinion. And it's, you can see, you know, everybody's looking at it from the different perspective, and we complement each other. And congratulations on your initiative. This is great. And we're looking forward. If you need any help, anything, I'd love to help. And as what I said, we started the MENA Women in Engineering, and I'd love to see more women engineers with us in this group as well. We try to do a lot. We're trying a mentoring program. So I think one of the things that are missed in the Middle East is mentoring. So women progress, but not easily. But then when they progress, the other ones are not. And we should have a mentoring program between senior and junior engineers, so the senior ones can share their experience with the junior and help them to, learn how to handle and navigate tough situations. And one more thing I just want to say regarding families. I have a family, I have 2 kids, and I give my kids a full attention. My son doesn't go to bed. He's the youngest, and my daughter used to, without me reading them books and spending time and talking about how their day is gone. And so the connection between me and my kids is very strong. When you work as a mother, you always feel guilty because you're away from your kids. And I find that the working mothers actually spend a lot of time with their kids and give their kids a lot of attention because of that internal feeling, that you're away, so you want to be on top of it. Women can handle both with no problem.
أكيد. طيب، نمشي للسؤال الجاي. طالبات هندسة السودان ملاحظة إنه الأغلبية عايزين ينضموا لمينا، وعايزين يعرفوا عن هم كيف ممكن ينضموا لمجتمعات هندسة عالمية. أعتقد في للواتساب.
نعم. بالنسبة لمينا Women in Engineering حاليا الدكتورة تقوى is the connection for us with Sudan, and they can contact دكتورة تقوى. They can contact me via LinkedIn, Hanan Farahat, so they can even contact me and send me their names. The website is completed. We should launch it within 2 or 3 days, so it's ready to go. We have some videos for the International Women Day that we're going to launch in the website. We are creating a LinkedIn group, بس عندنا private platform. من ناحية المجتمعات العالمية في العالم الخارجي, there are other entity groups. I have to say that the international ones, I looked at some of them. مثلا فيه Society of Women Engineers. It's based on England, but there is a lot of women in it, but you have to pay fees. وأنا أعتقد إنه هو it's not fair, لأن في نساء كثيرات ما يشتغلوش في مجالات الهندسة، في نساء كثيرات يشتغلوا في مجالات الهندسة بس معاشاتهم قليلة. كيف نحن بنساعدهم ونطلب منهم في نفس الوقت إنه يدفعوا فيس؟ فبصراحة I am against this. I think if we wanted to support women, we should have it free, and we should all be volunteering and helping each other. They're welcome to join the MENA group. Other groups you can find, there is one based in United States as well. It's Association of Women Engineers, but also this one you have to pay fees. Most of the groups, unfortunately, are profit groups. They're non-profit. They are not non-profit. We have only few non-profit groups that women can join.
Okay. اللي هي السيمينارات عموما الجمعيات المتخصصة هنحتاج لإنه ندفع. فأحيانا لو الشخص عنده القدرة إنه هو يدفع، يفضل إنه ينضم للمنظمات اللي بيقدر طيب، في سؤال ثاني كان عن مشكلة واجهتك، لكن أعتقد إحنا جاوبنا على السؤال ده والزمن تقريبا خلص، فحندي دكتورة تقوى فرصة في آخر دقيقة.
اوكي، شكرا جزيلا فاطمه. حقيقه يا دكتوره حنان انا سعيده بك جدا والله، يعني حديثك كان ملهم جدا واستفدنا منه كثير، وانا متاكده كل الحضور الان والحضور اللي حيحضروا لاحقا حيكون بالنسبه لهم السيمينار ده يعني ملهم جدا ومساعد بشكل كبير جدا. الحقيقه انا شاكره لك شديد انك اديتينا من زمنك وحضرتي ووافقتي انك تقدمي يعني كلمه لبناتنا في الهندسه بشكل عام في السودان وفي كل الناطقين باللغه العربيه. يعني انا كنت حريصه بانه المحتوى يكون باللغه العربيه، لاني لاحظت على كل المستويات المحتوى باللغه الانجليزيه متوفر بشكل كبير، لكن المحتوى باللغه العربيه فيه قصور بشكل واضح. نحن اليوم بنحتفل باليوم الهندسه العالمي. بهنيك يا دكتوره وبهني كل الحضور باليوم الجميل ده. ونحن في جامعه السودان للعلوم والتكنولوجيا عندنا جسم هو تكامل الجمعيات الهندسيه في جامعة السودان للعلوم والتكنولوجيا. هو تكامل بيضم 12 جمعية اتجمعت مع بعض وأصبحت في جسم واحد، وهم عملوا برامج. يعني اليوم هي سيمينارات أونلاين، لكن بكرة موجودة السيمينارات بالقاعات وفي معارض كمان. اليوم جاي تحت شعار البيس انجينيرينج فور سستينبل ديفلوبمنت، ومؤكد انه السستينبل ديفلوبمنت ما بيتم ما لم يكون المرأة فعلا انفولد، لأن المرأة بتمثل جانب أساسي جدا في المجتمع، وهي أساس لكثير من الأعمال في الحقيقة. فكلامك اليوم كان ملهم جدا، وأدى يعني الشابات ديل وحتى أو أولادنا يعني من الحضور هند بأنه شنو المهم. فعلا المعرفة مهمة جدا، التدريب المستمر. المرأة لو كانت فعلا هي متعلمة مؤكد حتكون واثقة من نفسها وبتقدر تثبت وجودها بشكل كبير جدا. مرة ثانية شكرا لك كثير، وبشكر عبر السيمينار ده حقيقة برضو كل الجهات والمنظمات الدعمت اليوم الهندسة العالمي ودعمت التكامل الاحتفال باليوم ده، منها رابطة المهندسين السودانيين في قطر يا دكتورة، وغالبا بتكوني بتعرفي جزء أو بتعرفي الرابطة دي. بتمنى إنه يكون في كوميونيكيشن بينك وبينهم. أيضا عندنا منظمة الاستجابة لأهداف التنمية المستدامة، وهي منظمة اسمها سدرو موجودة في أمريكا، برضو من الداعمين والهوستنج للبرنامج كله هي كلية الهندسة في جامعة السودان للعلوم والتكنولوجيا. التحية لهم جميعا. وأيضا عندنا Global Engineering Deans Council و International Federation of Engineering Education Societies. فالشكر والتقدير لكل الراعين للبرامج في يوم الهندسة العالمي. وشكرا لك كثير دكتورة حنان، حقيقة سعدنا بك جدا، وإن شاء الله نتلاقى معك أكيد في برامج قادمة بإذن الله. شكرا لطلابنا جميعا، طلاب الجمعيات وكل الشباب اللي مساعدينهم، لأنهم لولاهم حقيقة ما كان اليوم ده يعني ممكن تنفيذه أصلا. فالشكر كله للطلاب لاجتهادهم الكبير جدا. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا لكم على الدعوة، وأنا تشرفت أن أكون معكم ونحتفل معكم، وكل عام إن شاء الله وأنتم بخير.
جزاك الله خير دكتور حنان. إنه عايزة تقولي حاجة ولا نختم؟
بعد
نعم.
كده نختم.
نعم.
نختم بعد ده.
نعم.
طيب دكتور حنان، دكتور تقوى, thank you all. Everything you said was really related. We really felt that everything that you said we're living. It's not just preaching or saying that we should do this. No, we're literally living everything. And Dr. Taqwa, thank you again for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank also Dr. Amardeen. Thank you, Fatma. Anyone here, we're looking forward to, I think the matter is confidence. So we need to make sure that we take care of our confidence, we love ourselves, we respect ourselves, because when you start doing this, everything is going to work out. So شكرا للجميع ومع السلامة.
السلام عليكم. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.
مع السلامة دكتورة.
مع السلامة.
جزاكم الله خير كلكم.
مع السلامة.